There's a big name quarterback prospect in the portal that has Vandy on his short list. Very interesting.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, as portal season opens, it opens on Monday. Vandy's set to host a couple of big-time recruits in the near future and will likely make a run at quite a few others. But there's a big portal quarterback target that has Vandy in his top 4. And if you guessed Caden Salter from Liberty, you guessed right. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Caden Salter. He'd be a really good fit in Vandy's offense with his skill set. I thought he did pretty well in Jamie Chadwell's offense, which is very similar. I think he would be a really good fit for Vanderbilt. He has that Liberty connection with Chase Mitchell. I think there's going to be quite that Liberty to Vandy pipeline that I feel like is brewing a little bit. But Caden Salter has Syracuse, Indiana, Auburn, and Vandy in his top 4. So breaking down those choices, okay? So I think, as far as a scheme fit goes, I think Vandy probably is the best fit. And then I would say probably Syracuse, honestly. I think Syracuse would be a good fit for him. And then you have Indiana and Auburn. I don't know that Auburn would be a great fit for him. I think there's other quarterbacks in the portal that would better suit Auburn. But I think the perfect offense for him would be Vandy, and that's the truth. But the real question is, okay, so this news comes out, right? He puts Vandy in his top 4. Yesterday, we felt good about his Diego Pavia's chances of coming back and winning his lawsuit, but I'm starting to kind of think this thing could go either way, really. And I said yesterday, you got to roll the dice, and I think that's still kind of true. But also, I think if you're going to have a chance, you have to kind of communicate that with Caden Salter. And if you could kind of waylay his decision and try to give him something to think about and say, hey, listen, we really like you. I think you'd be a phenomenal fit. We've got to go with Diego Pavia. I mean, he's a rock star. He's what got us here. And this is the direction we need to go. But, I think that there's got to be some sort of communication to Caden Salter, be like, listen, hey, we try to get his decision pushed back until the judge can make his final decision on whether or not Diego Pavia is in or is out. Or Diego Pavia may just decide, hey, I don't know. I don't think he's going to decide that. Never mind. But there's a chance, and I think it means that he could possibly know something that gives him some sort of inkling that it's not looking good as far as his chances of being able to come back and play his in 2025 for an extra year. So I'm not sure what to think of that. Caden Salter again would be a great fit. Skill set wise, I mean, he's fast. He's got a good arm. He's accurate. I feel like he's a playmaker, a natural playmaker. I feel like he's a leader. And I'm very excited about the thought of like, hey, this is the first big time target that's seriously considering Vanderbilt, right? The reason we got to Diego Pavia last year was because a lot of the big game guys were just completely ignoring Vanderbilt because why wouldn't you? Vanderbilt's coming off 2-10. You're not sure if their head coach is going to make it through the season, right? You're not sure if Clark Lee's going to make it through the season. That was the thought last year. The thought this year now is, okay, Vandy's in a good place. Now they've opened their pockets in NIL a little bit. Nashville's a great place to live. So why not give them a chance? And now Caden Salter, and probably every quarterback in the portal that's similar has seen the impact that Diego Pavia has had on this offense and the skill set that Pavia has. I mean, Pavia is not that great of a passer, and he thrived for most of the year. He took some shots and kind of wore down, but he thrived. I think Caden Salter is obviously a better passer, and I think would be able to preserve himself a lot easier because he can create some separation in the passing game and create some relief for himself in the passing game. So that would be an obvious upgrade in that regard. I don't know that Caden Salter has quite the star power that Pavia has. I don't know that a lot of people do. And for Vandy, I think they need that type of leader. It is obvious what he's done for the rest of the locker room. So Caden Salters would have big shoes to fill in that regard, if that were the case, if he were to. But the other side of this coin is, Caden Salter could get into this thing and just be like, all right, I want to make my decision. I want to be somewhere. I like Vanderbilt, but they're just not ready for me, and I could see that happening. That would be kind of a bummer, but I totally get it. I think, like I said, I stand by what I said yesterday. I do think they owe that to Diego Pavia, but it's got to be, it's got to be a situation that's going to be right. And I think if you can get a guy like Caden Salter, I think you have to. I think the move obviously is to waylay that and is to try to get whatever quarterback you're interested in. Just try to get them to push their decision as late as possible, because I think I don't think the judge wants to stretch this thing out very far. I think at some point he's going to make a decision. I think he's going to make a decision before Vandy leaves for their bowl game. And yeah, I could see a decision sooner rather than later because they just want to get this out of the way. And so this could impact kind of the way that is recruited. Like, Caden Salter may love Vanderbilt, but he also may love Syracuse. Fran Brown I wouldn't blame him if he likes Syracuse. Fran Brown is a great coach. Seems like a great coach to play for. Syracuse, is an up and coming program as well. They were a program that was in the dumps. They're winning some games. They're kind of like the other Vanderbilt, right? They've got a really good coach, really good atmosphere. So Syracuse is a good choice. Auburn, I think, would be a good choice for some reasons. I think Indiana is a program that I don't know how long Kirk Cignetti is going to be there. He's in his 60s. Obviously, probably long enough to be there. He's a very popular coach as well. So I don't know if big programs are going to come after him or if he's even interested in leaving. But, for this decision is going to come down to a lot of different things. Like, do you want to play in the SEC? Do you want to play in the Premier Conference? Well, then your choices are Auburn and Vanderbilt, right? And Vanderbilt, with your skill set, seems to be the obvious choice. And the other question is, do you believe that Indiana is more than just a flash in the pan? I don't know. I don't know that. I can't guarantee that. It's such a transient world in this college football world. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of fluidity there. There's a lot of things happening that I'm not sure exactly what is in store here. Do you want to go to Syracuse? Do you want to play in the ACC? I think that would probably be the easiest track because that league is just jumbled up, man. Like, I would have never guessed that SMU was going to have the season they were going to have. Like, they're in that ACC championship, and I think they're not very much the favorite by Vegas, but I do think they have a chance to really put it on Clemson. So that's a league that can be highly competitive. I don't know if they're highly competitive with any other conference, but within their league, they're highly confident. So you have a chance to win some games and to play some good football and get some good tape and play for a really good organization in Syracuse and a really good head coach with Fran Brown. So I think he has four really good choices. I think it's going to come down to kind of where he feels comfortable. It's going to obviously come down to NIL. I think probably your best NIL potential is Nashville. And I think the longer this plays out for Caden Salter, I think the better chance that Vanderbilt has, because again, they're delaying that decision until they figure out what's going on with Pavia. We'll know that as Caden Salter is, like, if he starts kind of delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying, that means, he's really thinking long and hard about Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's just not there yet, because Vanderbilt may want him, but I don't know that they're going to burn that bridge with Diego Pavia, because if they get Caden Salter and they get Diego Pavia, because they got some guys Vanderbilt's got some good quarterbacks already on the roster that know the system that could play backup. Like Jeremy St. Hilaire, I've heard he's the best quarterback on the roster outside of Diego Pavia, right? He would probably end up winning that backup job. So there's a lot to be said there as well. So this is far from over. I think Jackson Arnold, I don't know that he's a viable option. I do think you try to go after him. I do think you try to kick the tires there and see what's what. But I do think, he probably ends up at a Georgia. He might be one that could end up at Auburn. So there's a good possibility. Connor Wegman is somebody that's out there. Could he end up at Auburn and open the door for Caden Salter? I don't know. But again, none of this matters if Diego Pavia wins his case, because they're going to go there and then they're going to continue to develop somebody behind so that they can just kind of build depth at that position and go spend money elsewhere to get weapons to help Diego Pavia as he develops his passing game. So it's going to be interesting. But Caden Salters from Liberty has Vandy in his top 4. I think that's exciting because he's a big name. He's got Vandy in his top 4, which means, Vandy's starting to earn a little bit of respect, and some of the respect that they deserve after the season that they've had. Now, it's just a little bit of respect. Don't get it twisted, but they're on the map now, and people are taking them seriously. And I think a lot of it has to do with the city of Nashville and the NIL potential that it presents. That's okay. That's this day and age. That's completely normal. So that's I think what's going to happen. So stay tuned to this. This quarterback situation is going to feel like a soap opera, and it's just going to feel like it's going to take a twist here, a turn there, and then it's going to come from left field what the actual answer is. So stay tuned for that and buckle up, of course. All right. Buckle up, of course. So got a couple of guys actually visiting, an offensive lineman and a linebacker. If you can read, it's over there in the side panel, but we'll talk about those guys next. All right. Cut your wireless bill. That's right. Mint Mobile. I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals just to save a few bucks. I don't know. That seems pretty tempting. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. So when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan, I called them on it. Turns out it really is that easy to get a wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold waiting to break up with my old provider. Whew, it's very, very easy, right? So to get started, go to mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. There you'll see that right now. All 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts. Find out how easy it is to switch to Mint Mobile and get 3 months of premium wireless service for just $15 a month. To get this new customer offer, your new 3-month premium plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. That's mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. A $45 upfront payment is required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. And if you want a good bagel, go to Creve Hall Bagel. I promise you will not regret that. Sourdough bagels, they have all kind of flavors of schmear, which is the cream cheese, if you're unfamiliar with the terminology. But this is the place to go for bagels. It's a great atmosphere. Staff is phenomenal. They're super friendly, and they take pride in their work. But the sourdough bagels, I never thought I would be a bagel guy, much less a sourdough bagel guy. But here I am. I'm both now, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I can't eat a bagel anymore. Crieve Hall Bagels done spoiled me. I'm a sourdough guy now. So that's the power of Crieve Hall Bagels. So make sure you partake today. Head over to Crieve Hall, locally owned, and they're open while supplies last, which typically isn't very long. So get over there fast. So talking transfer portal. Okay, one of the things that Vandy need help with, big time help with, and pun slightly intended, is the offensive line. And they always need help with offensive line. Every team needs help with offensive line. Let's be honest. But what's interesting about this is we talked about Caden Salter. Where's he from? Liberty. Okay. Now this next guy, Jordan White, has planned a visit to Vandy on December 13th. Okay. And it's a 2-team race as of right now. And that's what's being reported. It's come down to a 2-team race, Michigan and Vandy. Okay. Now, this guy is Liberty offensive lineman. Guess who else played at Liberty? Chase Mitchell. Guess who likes Coach Klenakis? Chase Mitchell. Guess who has a Liberty connection? Chris Klenakis. So there's a whole lot of connection here. And I think that serves Vandy very, very well because Jordan White is super, super talented. I'm a big fan of Jordan White. He's 6'2", 300 pounds. He's an interior guy, probably a center. And he had one of the highest graded regular seasons. It was good for 6 nationally. He was a 81.4 PFF college grade, and one of the top 10 interior linemen in the entire country. So very excited about that. I think with what Vandy does in the run game, having really good elite interior linemen are, it is the utmost importance, right? It's something that, to play to that identity, I think you need some really, really good guys on the interior. I think you need some guys that can communicate. I think you need some guys that know Chris Klenakis's philosophy and coaching style, understand this system and understand what Vandy wants to do. I think that, these offensive linemen, they want to be in similar situations, right? I don't know that White or a lot of offensive linemen want to go and jump into a completely new system if they don't have to. So learning a little bit of changes in terminology, but the same overall concepts is a lot easier than completely learning something completely new. And I just don't know with some of the unknowns at Michigan and the fact that Michigan just went from national champs to, well, everyone was making fun of Ohio State so bad because Michigan was terrible. And that's not good, right? And you're getting into a bad situation with a program that's kind of declining a little bit, but they did just get Bryce Underwood, so maybe they're back on the rise. I just don't know, but this is going to become an SEC Big Ten battle. It's what conference do you want to play in? Do you want to get film on the big stage? Do you want to play within a little familiarity? I think as an interior guy, I think to be able to get as much tape as you can in a system that you know is good, because you're going to be able to play confidently. You're going to be able to, you're going to be able to play fast. You're going to be able to communicate. And you're going to be able to prove to NFL scouts, if that's what you want, that you belong. And you can't do that if you're busy learning a new offense, if you're unsure of how the coaching is or how they want to utilize you and whatnot. If you don't have any familiar faces, or if you don't have any familiarity at all, sometimes these portal situations go south because, somebody jumps from one system to another. Like Tyler Van Dyke is in more of like a pro spread at Miami, jumps to Wisconsin, plays for Phil Longo, gets hurt. Wasn't overly effective to begin with. And a lot of that was, I just don't think he was a good fit for what Phil Longo wanted to do. And and that didn't bode well for him. So, the scheme's got to be a fit, and I think Vandy's a really good fit because Jamie Chadwell, Tim Beck, and Jared Kill and all they have similar philosophies, and I think they want to do similar things. And so, again, that to me would be a good scheme fit. I don't know. So there is also Michaelan Pounders. He's an offensive tackle, big offensive tackle from Mississippi State. He's in the portal. He doesn't have any visits set, but I think it's an interesting target because the last offensive lineman we got from that school has done pretty well. He started at center, switched over to guard, has been playing quite well. He's been really good in pass protection and also been a force as a quick guard, being able to pull and get to the second level and seal off linebackers. I think a lot of our run success has been due to the fact that we can get guys up on linebackers. We can have some athletic offensive linemen as well as some big behemoths like Xavier Castillo and have him be able to play that center position, which is huge, literally and figuratively. And so, you have a guy like this who would likely factor in probably as one of the quick guards. You get a guy that's an athlete. He's highly sought after, and I think Michigan's going to make their push. But I think Vandy has a really good chance here at Jordan White. Michaelan Pounders, unsure exactly what he brings to the table, but I know that getting some quality depth that has experience playing in this league is good. I think Mississippi State did a lot of good things offensively at times. I think it's tough because their just overall talent level, I think, gives you sort of a false I guess it gives you kind of an inaccurate picture, more so than false, but inaccurate picture of what they're really like, of how their system really is, because I think some plays get blown up that shouldn't get blown up because you have a sub in or whatever the case may be. I think there's a lot of factors that go into being able to develop and to be able to evaluate some of these guys on teams like Mississippi State. So Michaelan Pounders, I think, is somebody that I would keep an eye on. I think that's somebody Vandy should go after. Again, experience, needs a better place to play, good NIL potential, and opportunity right now. And Jordan White has opportunity right now because Stephen Hubbard is he's out of eligibility. He was a one and done regardless because he didn't have it. He only had one more year left. So you get an interior lineman that's going to be that's going to give you instant. It's going to give you instant credibility and instant. I think it's going to give you an instant upgrade in the offensive line, and that's a fact. So. But anyway, another target, some defensive help could be on the way. It's a Bammer. We'll see who it is next. All right, FanDuel. That's right. Make sure you get in on this NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's right, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all from one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. So if you want to put a bet on Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown, that'd be a pretty solid one to bet. So that's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And speaking of which, I'm taking Georgia plus 2.5 because Kirby Smart is an underdog. That's a dangerous weapon. Yep, that's a dangerous weapon. So FanDuel, do it. All right, wrapping up the show. You know what's a good feeling? That it's Friday, but last night I got cracked. You're probably asking yourself, what are you talking about? You got cracked. I went to the Joint Chiropractic. The new deal that I was potentially, the new partnership I was teasing a little bit. Well, this is it. I have joined forces now with the so for 6 months. I got a 6-month period here. But the Joint Chiropractors in the Bellevue branch, especially, but joint chiropractic services. We are now partners. And I'm telling you, dude, I've been like this, for a little while. I went in there, man. Dr. Nolan, he got in there, and you see these chiropractor videos on TikTok, and it's freaking hilarious, man. Because you're like, they got some like spaghetti noodle that's mic'd up, and you just hear it crack, and you're like, good Lord. And you're like, how good does this really feel? And I kind of, was like, I was kind of skeptical about it. Obviously I was like, it's chiropractic. Like, what can they possibly do? Right, man. I walk in there, and this guy's like, all right, hey, let's do some tests. I did some tests, and he's like, okay, all right, you're tight here. Here we go. I'm gonna work on you. And pop, pop, crack. I'm twisted all up like this, and he's like cracking on me, and like, I feel like I'm in like WWE and stuff. I mean, it was hilarious, man. I'm sitting there. I don't know what to expect, man. And dude, I'll tell you the freakiest part was when he got my neck, right? So he gets your neck in this little cradle, and I'm sure all of you've seen it. And he like pulls it and just goes, and I'm telling you, I can still hear that. It was a very distinct sound. It was kind of freaky, but then it felt good too. So, man, I get up and I'm like, holy cow. I'm literally floating. I literally floated out of there. I've never felt that light in my life. Long story short, too late. But I felt extremely light when I walked out of there, and it was amazing. Man, my back was released. I had my shoulder tension was gone. My neck felt good. I could actually turn. And I could actually go both ways. Like one way I can't like turn hardly, and the other way I can. I mean, I've got all kind of mobility going on. And he gave me like the basic crack for the first time. He's like, man, I'm gonna start you off slow because it's like the gym. So anyway, nonetheless, go to the joint. There's one in Bellevue. There's 900 locations nationwide, so you can go to a lot of them. They have great deals, man, and it's worth it. Like I might be addicted now. I might be addicted to getting cracked. Like I might have to go like every day. Stop by on my way home from school. It's on my route home. And so I might just pull in and be like, hey, need my neck cracked. I slept on it wrong, And like, I'm telling you, if somebody says it don't work, they lying. It works. So very good experience. Dr. Nolan took care of me. I look forward to working with everybody up there. I want to experience every doctor that comes through there. But Dr. Nolan was, he's top notch, man. So if you get a chance to work with Dr. Nolan at Joint Chiropractor, you should do it. So check it out. Bellevue location, obviously my favorite, but feel free to check out the location nearest to you. That was a very long promo. They deserved it. What can I say? All right. So Locked On Vandy, at Locked On Vandy on all social media platforms, at Coach Burton. I think it's at locked.on.vandy on TikTok. I think it's Locked On Vandy was taken. So I don't know. Just search Locked On Vandy on TikTok. You can find it. But Keanu Coate, Bama linebacker, set to visit Vandy. He's got, I think he's down to Ole Miss in Vandy. This is going to be an interesting one because it's going to come down to, because I think NIL, I think it's going to be fairly equal as far as what Ole Miss is able to pay and what Vandy's able to pay. So I don't know that it's going to come down to dollars and cents, because I think it's going to be so close, it's not going to matter. So I think it's going to come down to scheme fit. And, with Ole Miss being so close to the playoff, that might have something to do with it. Vandy's defensive scheme, I think, fits him a lot. And the way that Vandy attacks, the way that Vandy, uses their linebackers, gives them a lot of independence, a lot of freedom, and allows them to communicate, allows them to make plays. And Clark Lee is not scared to send those guys. He's really not. So I think that's attractive to any linebacker. I don't know what Keanu Coate is looking for, but I know that when he visits, Clark Lee is going to say, now listen, this is what he'll probably talk in circles, right? And he'll probably have Keanu's like, whoa, I should come here, right? So set to visit Vandy. That's going to be an interesting visit there. I think Vandy could use the help at linebacker. I think if they can get that, I think that'll bolster that position a little bit. I think it'll make it scary, right? Because if you sign at Bama, you're pretty good. You got talent. Whether you work out or not, whether it works out for you or not at Bama, you got some talent. So that's, you sign him. That's a pretty big fish. So speaking of big fish, before we let you go, Barryon Brown, I think if Vandy is not going after Barryon Brown, they're doing it wrong. I don't care if he says he's about to sign at Ole Miss. I think you still go for him. Barryon Brown played right down the road, literally probably a 5-iron away from Vanderbilt at Pearl Cone, was a phenomenal player at Pearl Cone. I can say that firsthand, and would be an absolute weapon. I don't know that Diego Pavia could throw to him because he could outrun Diego Pavia's arm. But I would surely like to see him try. I think he would be the electric receiver that Vandy needs. I think you need to go after him. Dane Key is also leaving Kentucky. I don't know where he stands. He might end up at like a Georgia, which would be a great fit for him. But I think you got to look. I think you got to kick the tires there too. So Barryon Brown would be the alpha receiver that you need. I don't know if he's interested in coming to Vandy. I don't know if he's interested in playing in this system. I think Vandy would look to throw a lot more if he's here. I think Vandy needs a reliable alpha guy out there. And that's no shot at Junior Sherrill. That's no shot at Quincy Skinner. That's just what they lacked. And that's what they need. And that's what they're going to get with Barryon Brown. So I think you go after him. He brings instant heat to the wide receiver room. So last thing before we go, let you get into the weekend. Basketball team, huge win at Virginia Tech in the ACC SEC Challenge. Big win there on the road. I think that there was times where Virginia Tech looked like they were getting into the game, and then Vandy shot their way out of it. Like this whole like fluid position thing, positionless basketball, everybody's point guards. I saw more movement. I saw more guys actually look like they played basketball together before that evening. And this was a fun game to watch. Much better from behind the arc, much better shooting team. I thought we did a good job of getting to the basket. I still think we're a little reliant on getting to the basket, but hey, I'll take it, man. Vandy has an identity on the court. That's a great starting point. I think it's easier to adjust in basketball, but I think you can adjust from that and really do some things and really do some damage as you improve other aspects of your game. I think being able to get to the rim is a really good asset for a basketball team, and they have a lot of guys that can do it. And so I'm really excited about this team. Huge win. And with that, I'll let you guys go. Have a great weekend. My winners are Georgia plus 2.5. I like Oregon, whatever that spread is. I don't care. I like Oregon. I'm taking Oregon there. I'm going to take SMU. I think they're minus 2.5, which is basically a pick 'em there. And I like Tulane. Those are my 4 picks. All right. So take those. Okay. Georgia, SMU, Oregon, Tulane. Take those picks in championship weekend. You're welcome. Have a great weekend. Be safe. If you're going to the SEC championship for any reason, be safe. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday on the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Peace.